welcome first and foremost to the building site. We are having a revamp in the studio for you guys. So yeah, please excuse the background. It is a work in progress. Hi, I'm Steve from 1233D. Today we are unboxing the well anticipated Prusa CoreOne. Stay tuned. So for those of you that don't follow the channel or haven't followed the channel until this point, we had the great pleasure of seeing this very machine, not this one in the box, but the same model, at Formnext in Germany in November. We were there for the unveiling. It was a pleasant surprise to say the least, because all of these podiums were covered with black sheets with Prusa branding on them and everything else. Joseph was schmoozing around, and we did try and get a sneaky peek under the covers, and we categorically got told no. I was guessing that under the covers was a new SLA printer. I was very wrong. We had the CoreOne. Very excited about this machine. It's the next step up for Prusa to give the community a new style enclosed printer for their range. A lot of people questioned it, would they put the Mark IV out of service and all that kind of thing. It's not about that. It's about offering another alternative. If you want to print with a fully enclosed machine, the CoreOne is going to be the one for that job. So here we get into the unboxing. We have power lead, we have Haribo, we have another nice CoreOne 3D printing handbook, full color. These manuals are very nice. We have the obligatory Prusa cheat sheet. We have an alcohol wipe, some nylon rivets, and I think Prusa lubricant. And we also have a sticky. So we have the test print off that I've just ripped because it was stuck to the packaging. Basically all the tests to being packaged and leaving the factory, this to say it has passed all of those tests. We have a pack that contains anti-vibration bars for the CoreOne. We have 2 of those. We have a build plate, steel CoreOne PEI build plate. So we'll open that shortly. Next up in this box of goodies, our favourite filament, Galaxy Black PLA Prusament. It has given me some handy instructions here how to remove said printer from the box. So basically it's telling me to remove this piece and then proceed to lift via the fold up handles the whole machine out. So to do this, I'm just going to pop it on the floor because my arms aren't that long. So fold up the cardboard flaps and lift out the beast. That was relatively painless. And now remove the cardboard. And we have another box. So in this box, CoreOne LCD, tools. And in the main box as well, there was the USB stick, the CoreOne. So with no further ado, let's embark upon this epic journey. For those of you that are already familiar with Prusa, this is pretty much the standard screen that they have on their Mark IV. The plastic case is more familiar to those who own the Mark IV-S. So that is very nice. And also it's exactly the same as what you get on the Prusa XL. And we have 2 screws pre-fitted. We've got keyway slots on the actual frame of the machine. We've got the ribbon cable socket. We've got a little spade tab for the grounding point, the earth. So I shall plug these in. You a silly person. That is why it's fighting back. We have it on upside down. Okay, so I shall now flip her the right way round. It is quite a weighty piece of equipment. And there we go. So do not clean the panels with IPA. For those of you who don't know, IPA and Perspex are not a good combination. If you wipe them with IPA, you will basically cloud all of the panels and destroy it. So don't do that. Use only alcohol-free cleaners or soapy water. My recommendation for this would be, if you do want to wipe anything down, use a damp cloth with water on and a microfiber cloth to polish it off to get rid of your streaks. So I shall remove the packaging. We've got another sheet on here, and then we have a bit of packaging inside. So some little things to note. This build plate is exactly the same size as what you would have encountered on your Mark IV, Mark IV-S, or even the Mark III. They've engineered the machine in such a way that it keeps it very, very compact, while you get the same build area on your actual plate. On the Z, you get slightly higher prints, and you can see here you've got these 2 indents in the side. This side is where your filament sits. This side here is where you can 3D print some parts to basically add tool storage, build plates, whatever you want. There's already files on printables to print modifications and upgrades for the machine. So no doubt at some point we will be doing that. On the top of the machine we have a ventilation louvery slap. So little screws at the top there, literally open, close. We have a very nice door that locks into position, and it is acrylic, so you're not going to break it. I've seen Joseph actually stand on top of this machine, so it's very, very, very well engineered and well built. As far as I'm aware, all of the actual skeletal frame for the machine are made from steel. It is all precision laser cut, so everything meets perfectly. It'll give you a perfectly square, solid, accurate frame, high quality, consistent results from the prints. Again, they've manufactured the major components all with the same materials. So when you heat the chamber or heat soak the chamber, everything expands and contracts at the same rates. This again has a knock-on effect to your print quality. You haven't got conflict of materials that are expanding and contracting at different rates, pulling all kinds of weird and wonderful forces. So I shall continue removing packaging and film, and then we'll get it plugged in. So one thing to note, they have put film on before the little plastic rivets, so if you want to get all that off, I'm not going to do it on camera, just pop the rivets out, remove the little blemishes of film, and you will be good to go. Next up, build plate. Prusa CoreOne. Double-sided, smooth PEI build plate. They go in the machine that away, and I'm pretty certain if I grab another one, which I do have another one, just bear with me. This plate is from the Mark IV, Mark IVS, identical. So you can use the standard plates with this machine. So just pop it in on the little locator tabs at the back, drop it down. I don't believe there's any more packaging inside there. So I guess the next thing, power lead, and get it turned on. Just some observations to let you guys know what is around the back. But the machine does have NFC, so you can wirelessly connect your mobile phone via the Prusa Connect app to the machine. You also have another outlet on the back for the GU10 hacker board. We have two USB-C sockets, and we also have an Ethernet port. So she's on. The screen is booted up. No firmware is found on the please insert the internal flash drive. Where did you put the flash drive, Steve? There it is, stuck to the packaging. Just power the machine off again. Hopefully we have firmware pre-flashed on the nice shiny Prusa branded USB drive. So that just pops into the side of the screen. We shall try again. New firmware available. Yes, we want to flash. So I shall click flash. Flashing firmware, 6%. Relatively quick process with these machines. Doesn't take that long to do it. For those of you who aren't aware, this machine is going to be offered in 3 variants. The fully assembled version, which we have here. Then you will have a kit self-assembly version. So you basically get this machine flat packed in a box, like you would have done with the previous iterations like the Mark IV, the Mark IVS and so on. And you also have the added advantage for all the Mark IV and Mark IVS owners to purchase the CoreOne upgrade kit. So you'll basically cannibalize your existing Prusa machine to make this thing. All of these will be available via our website, of course. The link for those will be in the description. Not all of them are live yet. They all will be in stock at some point in the future. We flashed. We shall now proceed to the setup. So we are English. We have Joseph and his infamous icons giving us a walkthrough guide. Very, very easy to follow. This is your Prusa CoreOne printer. I would like to guide you through the setup process. That is very kind of you, Joseph. Printer type. So we have CoreOne selected. The print head is giving us various options. Do you want to connect to the Wi-Fi on your mobile phone using NFC? Question mark. You can scan the QR code. We won't do it for the purpose of the video. Next up, scan network. So you can scan for a network wirelessly. You can set up via NFC. We are going to skip network setup. Run self-test calibration now? Question mark. Yes, we will. Before you continue, make sure the print sheet is installed on the heat bed. we have already installed the build plate on the heat bed. If you haven't done that, make sure you do that before you proceed to the next step. So we're going to click OK. Now it's doing its magical things. First up, it is testing the RPM fan speeds. So it's print fan, hot end fan, enclosure fan, switched fans. So this machine, for those of you who aren't aware, does have actively controlled chamber temperature. Now what I mean by that is there is not an internal heating element to heat the chamber. It heats from the ambient temperature caused by the heat bed, the extruder and so on. But if you set it to a certain temperature, the fans in the back will basically come on and off to maintain that stable temperature. So if you want it to set PLA and you want the chamber temperature to be relatively low, the fans will run more. If you're printing ABS or PC or whatever where you want a relatively high chamber temperature, the fans will not come on as often, basically maintaining a stable ambient temperature within inside the chamber. Critical to getting successful ABS, ASA or PC prints. So as you can see, the machine is now what it appears to be, smashing itself to pieces. It isn't really. It is basically measuring all of the end stops. These are measured on this machine with actual belt tension resonance feedback to the stepper motors, not limit switches as you would find on some of the older generation printers. A lot of new printers are using this technology, the same as the Mark IV and Mark IVS. Okay, so next up, load cell. So what it wants us to do now is test the load cell. So I do have a tiny bit of orange filament that will be from the test print that was done. It says, we will need your help with this test. You will be asked to tap the nozzle. Do not worry, it is going to be cold. You don't want to tap a hot nozzle. I am going to click continue. And then it's counting down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, tap. Load cell test passed OK. So it is now checking the Z axis. During the test, the heat bed and the extruder will move in the full range. The printer may vibrate and be noisier during homing. So basically it's just come up its full length of travel. Now it appears to be going right the way back down to the bottom again. This is so the machine's calibrating to know its exact orientation and distances in all axes. So next up, the nozzle heater check. Check on the heat break status, that is checked. Currently it is preparing for the heater test, and it is also preparing for the heat bed check. Little red lights come on the heat bed, so that's telling me that the heat bed is now heating. So around the door here we have a nice little foam strip that the door actually closes snugly to. We shall close the vent. While this is doing, I have some holes that are empty. So we do get quite a lot of spare, 55 in fact, spare nylon rivets. So I'm just going to plug those holes basically to remove this clackiness. Very simple, a little tiny rivet, pop that in the hole like so, push it down. That then expands and locks the panel like that. We don't have any on that side and we don't have any up to on that side. So you do get quite a lot of spares in case you need to remove these. To be fair, in my experience, these are the same principle that they have on the Prusa enclosure. They are reusable if you're careful. You basically pop them back up, it opens up and then you can pull them out. But if you do break them, you've got plenty. The only time is that you're really going to need to remove those is if you have to remove any panels to perform any maintenance or do any work on the inside of the machine. So it's not going to be a very regular occurrence by any means. It is now asking for gearbox alignment. The gearbox calibration is only necessary if for the user assembly or serviced. Right, so basically what it's telling us, if we built the machine from scratch, i.e. the kit form, we would need to calibrate the gearbox, or if we performed any maintenance on the gearbox, then we would need to calibrate the gearbox again. Because this is an assembled machine, we can actually skip this step. So we have done that. Now, filament sensor calibration. We need to start without filament in the extruder. Please make sure there is no filament in the filament sensor. Now I have seen here, we do have a remnant of filament in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click unload. I can only assume, let me try and snap it to see. I would assume that that is going to be PETG. I would pretty much bet my life on that is PETG because it is very flexible. So I will select PETG. Won't matter really if it's PLA or PETG, but We'll say it's pet G. Heating up the hot end. Voila. Is the filament in the sensor? No. Insert filament into the extruder until the filament sensor detects. So I assume we do this via the tube. So now it's detected. Filament is inserted. Press continue. So yes, we are. Continue. Calibrating. Do not move. Okay. Remove the filament to finish. So just now pull that back out. Done. Happy printing. Continue. Thank you, Joseph. Here we are, the main UI. Very, very standardized user interface on all of the Prusa machines. You have print, preheat, filament, control, settings, and info. You can use either the wheel to scroll through. To select, you click the wheel, or you can use touch. I use a mixture of both. Preheat is exactly what it says. If you want to preheat for any material, i.e. you're printing ABS and you want to heat soak the chamber or get the machine up to temperature before you print, you simply go to preheat, scroll down the list and select ABS, and it will preheat to the ABS default temperatures. Filament, we can load, unload, change, purge, manage filaments via that menu. We have control, so in the control we can basically move the axes, set a temperature, auto home, set ready, disable the stepper motors in case we want to move anything around, or perform the calibration test that we've just done to actually set the machine up. And then we have settings. So in the settings menu we can basically calibrate the filament sensor. Stuck filament detection, so if filament's stuck in the extruder, it'll detect it and it'll notify us that that is the case. We have the option to toggle on and off the MMU unit. It is a 5-color multi-material add-on that you can buy for any of the Prusa machines that will then allow you to turn your single color machine into 5 colors. So that option is there as well. You have camera, so it's toggled off at the minute. I mean, I don't know. We will be getting the actual mini buddy cam for the CoreOne. As far as I'm aware, it fits inside this top corner via a magnet somewhere or other. And I do believe it is Wi-Fi controlled, so I think it pairs up to the actual machine via Wi-Fi. I'm not sure if it needs to be hard wired via a plug or not. I mean, looking in there, there is no plug there, so I'd imagine it will operate via Wi-Fi. So we have stealth mode, fan check, verified G-code, input shaper, user interface, language and time, network settings, hardware, so that'll tell us what firmware version the machine's on, firmware update, system, and that is it for the settings menu. So return and then info, literally the network status, sensor information, version information and print statistics. Those things will tell you how many hours the machine's been printing for, all of that good stuff. So without further ado, I guess we shall load in some Prusamint, have a look at what files are on the actual card and perform a test print. For those of you who aren't familiar with Prusamint, that just screams quality. It's all about the winding. So if I shall now find the end here, who designs this? You've got a very, very neat little tab where the actual filament is located. In that tab, if I can get it out, like that. And they have QR codes. You can scan the QR code, it will tell you what machine it was made on, the maximum deviations in the diameter of the filament, how many meters are on the spool, who made it, what date it was made, all of that fun stuff. I shall load on the filament. Now, as you can see, coming off the spool that way, we have the spool holder here. So I'm going to pop the filament onto the spool holder like so, and then into this little, I might need a set of side cutters, just bear with me. Just cut a bit of an angle on to make that feed through it a little bit easier. There we go, lovely. So basically, just keep feeding the filament through, and it's picked it up, and it is now winding through all by itself. It's even doing a dance for us to let us know that we have filament in it. It's amazing. So it's asking me now, filament preheating. Now I'm not sure if it's my eyesight or if that's just been caught on camera, but each time I turn the knob, the lights come on, like a very clever power saving thing. When the machine's active, the light comes on. If it's idle, they'll turn off. I've just put PLA in anyway. It's going to now purge. Is that correct colour? It is. Yes, it is. So I'll get rid of that. And now we will have a look what is on the, what is on the actual USB. Keychain dual colour. Benchy rules Benchy, and then we have a Benchy bonkers, so that will be the the ridiculously quick one. We have a spatula, plate overhang test, normal Prusa rocket engine, the Robo Alpaca, and we have a lighthouse without the benchy. So the lighthouse is what appears to be on the box. For the initial print, I will do the first one on the list, which is just the keychain, because that shouldn't take long. That'll let us know that the printer is actually working. Obviously, once we've got that out of the way, my mission is to print the lighthouse, because I have seen it printed a couple of times before by some other guys that have reviewed this machine, and it looks epic. And you can't have a benchy boat without a lighthouse. Come on. Without further ado, let us commence. Original Prusa keyring with a little hole through the O in the original print. We have lights, and it's doing another dance because it's happy to get to work. Now, maybe a good time to go and flick the kettle on, make your favourite beverage, accompanied by your favourite packet of biscuits, and get ready to see the results. We will see you very shortly.
20 minutes later.
We have a green light, which can only mean one thing: print complete. So, print time for this was 14 minutes and 54 seconds. I will pop out the plate, get rid of the little pidgey-widgey design, and the first print. Beautiful. Pop in the build plate. First impressions so far. So, relatively easy to set up, as you saw. You have to attach a screen, which involves plugging in the ribbon cable and putting on the ground terminal to the little spade connector, removing the packaging, taking away the cellophane film, all of that good stuff, pop in the USB drive, power the machine on, flashes with the latest version. Well, we don't know if it's the latest version, I haven't checked, but flashes it with firmware. You then complete the self-set calibration process and you're away, your first print. So, I mean, initial thoughts, the machine isn't obtrusively noisy. It's not at all offensive while it's printing. Again, Prusa are quite good with their machines. I haven't really found many of them to be by any means noisy at all. You will get a slight increase in fan noise with this machine over the Mark IV because you've got two fans at the back of the machine exhausting warm air from the chamber. So to me, that was the only real difference that I actually heard. A couple of other things that I have seen some other people maybe critique a little bit. We have a bar that is bracing the machine from side to side. This, to a point, limits your view if you want to stand there and watch your printer printing, because it is in line with the extruder. To me, I don't really think that's an issue. It's not a deal breaker for me at all. I would rather this machine be rigid and solid and perform accurately than have any flex. So if that bar's there, no biggie. The aesthetics, so while off camera, we were having a bit of a discussion about this. This machine is a very compact, self-contained unit. So for anybody that wants to space save with their 3D printers with the traditional bed slinger, i.e. the Mark IV or whatever, you have to account that you've got the bed movement backwards and forwards. Now this does traditionally equate to having a larger area for your printer to sit, because you need to maintain that space behind and in front of the machine for movement. This, on the other hand, not a problem. You could put this right back to the wall and it would print fine, provided you've got room for your power cable, which, again, Prusa have the power cable coming into the side of the machine in a cavity. So this machine will effectively sit back to your wall. We will do, like I said before, a 360 of this so you can actually see what I'm talking about. You have then the other options. As far as I'm aware, you can stack these machines. So if you wanted to have a print farm, you could pretty much tower these on top of each other. And I think, from what I have read and heard, that could be up to 5 high. So they will support the weight of 4 further machines with a kilogram spool of filament on each one, 4 high, if that is something that you want to consider. You could also bundle them all side by side. All you would need to do is reroute the filament so it isn't sat in the recess, or you just leave enough room between your printers to pull out the spool and switch out. That is it. So aesthetically, it is a really, really nice, well thought out machine. And I know that some viewers that will watch the video say, you know, it's a CoreXY machine. We know that none of the leading manufacturers invented the CoreXY machine. They have all implemented the design, put their own spin on it, and basically made a well-proven platform and incorporated it into their own design, adding key features, improvements that they've seen fit. Prusa, totally open source. Let's not forget that, guys. So another thing probably worth considering is the price point. So yes, this machine is more expensive than other CoreXY machines. And my argument for this time and time again, if you're using something as a tool, you should always try and buy the best that you can afford to buy, because ultimately that will give you better, consistent, long-term results. This machine, I have no doubt, is built to last. So you could use this machine every single day and you will encounter very, very little problems with it in terms of reliability, construction, workmanship, components, all of that type of stuff. So it's the age-old saying, you do get what you pay for. If you pay for Prusa, you're getting premium, and it will be reliable, consistent, and it will just work. But again, if you have Prusa machines already and you wanted to upgrade to this, you don't have to abandon or make your old machine redundant. You can use that machine to donor the parts to upgrade to one of these. Typically, we will sell for the same price that Prusa advertised for. UK stock, obviously, it will be, if it's in stock, shipped the same day, guaranteed. You'll get it the next day. Any orders that you place with us over £30 are free. So on this machine, you would pay no shipping. You would get it the next day, and you would get fully UK back support via either telephone, email, or our social media outlets. First impressions, which I'm a little bit biased, it's not really a first impression because I have seen it a number of times previously, but to get my hands on it and actually use it for myself, it has not disappointed in any way, shape or form. It was exactly as it was acclaimed to be when we saw it at launch, and when we revisited and saw it again at Smurf. It's a cracking machine. It's very well thought out. It's certainly filled the gap in Prusa's arsenal of machines, i.e. a fully enclosed CoreXY printer, because they didn't have one currently. The XL is a CoreXY machine, but it isn't fully enclosed, although you can buy the enclosure for it. This is an out-of-the-box enclosed machine. You could add an MMU unit to it if you wanted multicolour. You've got the slightly increased build volume. So I think that's me been waffling away for long enough. What we will do now is we will basically loading the Lighthouse. We will get that printed and we will put the results of that on screen anytime now. And on that fine note, if you have any questions regarding this machine or any other machine, drop them in the comments box below or drop us an email. The link will be in the description. We'll be happy to help you. Find a link for this available on our website now. That will also be in the description, along with all the other Prusa accessories that we currently stock with our ever-growing range. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Goodbye for now.
As always, we aim to have the most competitive 3D printer prices on the market. If you see any of our printers being sold by a mainstream retailer for less, please drop us an email using the link in the description and we'll do our very best to beat their price. Also, if you're watching from outside the UK, check the description for links to our European 123 3D sister stores.